Ugh. I don't know about you, Creamtown, but I'm kind of Pokemon'd out for now. What do you think we should talk about this week?
Well, we could do an analysis of the stock market. That's what everyone wants to talk about, right? The stock market? Hey, what's that?
This was a double kill.
Is there an unlit indicator with the word Bob on it?
Born again!
Marvel Rivals is out, and it's out in full swing. Things have kicked. Things have kicked off in full. We're Season 0, gone. Season 1, Endless Night, Eternal Night, vampires and shit. Weird place for Season 1 to go, I know, but that's what it is. Marvel Rivals is out in full swing, and people cannot seem to get enough of it. It certainly did not die off immediately like the last people clinging to Overwatch said it would. Rest in peace, Overwatch, with your more than an hour queue time for competitive. Oh. But it's out, it's super fun. This one strand of hair won't stay the fuck out of my face and I'm pissed off about it. We've already got 2 new characters out. Mr. Fantastic and his wife, who has a certain skin that has garnered some attention, and that is all I'm gonna say about that. But with them being dropped this quickly, and 2 more, the other half of the 4, fresh on their heels, and countless leaks of other people theoretically coming to the game, Ultron, a lot of the X-Men, a whole bunch of different stuff. Got everyone's wheels spinning on who should come out next, who needs to be added to this game, and that is what we're going to talk about today. What characters are not in this game that need to be in this game for various reasons. I've got a list. I've got a list of 5 characters, all of them a perfect fit, filling a niche we don't already have. So place your bets now on what you think they're going to be, and let's get into it. The first one is a character that has had recent success in the box office. Best superhero movie of 2020. Of course, I'm talking about everyone's favorite cinematic superhero, Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, what would a Sonic the Hedgehog moveset look like in this game? I hear you asking. And don't worry, that's what we're gonna do. I've created a moveset for this character and we're gonna go through it right now, starting with the basic attack, which I think is gonna be something like this. His basic attack from Smash. Just the kick punch combo. Nothing too fancy for the primary, it's just some punches and kicks. But what's the main gimmick of this character, I hear you asking? And that is Sonic's passive. Gotta go fast. Can you tell I had fun with the names? With this passive, for every second, maybe a couple seconds, every 2 to 3 seconds, that Sonic is not taking damage or using an ability, he will gain 1 stack of Gotta Go Fast. And this stack increases move speed by 1.5 times. Or rather, by 50%, to a maximum of 300%. And this is consumed with one of the following abilities, or just whenever you start attacking again. It's not good for damage or anything like that. It's not great for survivability, because even then you're still decently easy to hit with something and that'll take it all away, but it's mainly good for getting back to point quickly, playing health packs, and being a charge for the abilities we're about to go over. Like Spin Dash, Sonic's left shift, partially movement ability, partially contact damage dash that does extra damage the more stacks of Gotta Go Fast you have built up before using it. It's a 10-meter dash straight forward, bounces into the first wall that it hits, so it has potential to hit people twice. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a charge, it returns. You've all seen a spin dash, it looks like this. It's that. Gotta Go Fast also works with Sonic's right mouse button attack, homing attack. This one seems obvious. Charge up and release a homing attack, and for every charge of Gotta Go Fast you have, you can jump to an additional enemy target to a maximum of 6, because you can hold a maximum of 5 stacks. You see how that worked out? You see how that worked out? And finally, Sonic's E, Quill Burst. He's a hedgehog. He's got quills. The quills go out, they hit people. Specifically, for every primary attack, basic attack, that Sonic has successfully landed in the last 3 seconds, this burst damage, kind of similar to Strange's, will hit 1 additional target, proccing on whoever's closest first and moving out in an AoE from Sonic. And each enemy hit will take 50 damage, and add 1 stack to Gotta Go Fast, to a maximum of, I guess, 6 if you hit everyone, but really, when are you gonna hit everyone with an AoE? Regardless, it still caps out at 5 stacks total, but it's meant to be a setup, like, get in there, get some punches, do your Quill Burst to get all the way charged up with Gotta Go Fast, and then Spin Dash or Homing Attack the lot of them. And that's his kit. But I've forgotten something I hear you saying. What's his ultimate? What? Do you even gotta ask? Sonic's ultimate is Supersonic. Harness the power of the Chaos Emeralds and become gold. Specifically, this removes Sonic's ability to any of his other abilities, and instead maxes out Gotta Go Fast to a total 300%. I'm realizing that I've done math wrong. Every time up till now where I've said it caps at 5, it actually should be caps at 6, because that's 50 times 300, and I'm stupid. It maxes out the speed passive, it maxes out Gotta Go Fast, it grants him contact damage just for running into something, and of course it grants him flight. This probably lasts for, call it 10 seconds, similar to Star-Lord's thing where he just gains the flight state and his aimbot, it's just dash through the enemy team. It's this, do the thing.
Supersonic style.
Obviously that's the ult. Supersonic for Sonic. That's how it works. But, I hear you asking, the most interesting part of any Rivals kit is the team-ups. Did I consider team-ups? Of course I considered team-ups. What do you take me for? Some third-rate duelist with a fourth-rate deck? My grandfather's deck has no pathetic cards. And Sonic's team-up is called Think Fast. Sonic is the anchor. His Gotta Go Fast is set to a minimum 1 rather than a minimum 0, so at all times he's a little bit faster and he's got at least 1 stack up for his other things. And Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, gets minus 10% ult charge. He gets to do the Brainiac bounce 10% more regularly, because that's already kind of what all of his kit is. Build the ult, do the ult. And finally, the only other thing, as gently previously mentioned as before, skins. We need skins for these characters, and Sonic's got a plethora of options. Obviously, Shadow, Silver, but also Darkspine could make an appearance. Perhaps Excalibur Sonic, maybe Hypersonic. I could see that also. The problem with those last two are they look kind of like Super, but I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool enough that it outweighs that might look a little similar. And of course, he's a duelist. This is a duelist's kit. Speaking of duelists, I've got one more for you here before we move on to a different role. That was supposed to do something. It's Foxy. You've all seen the meme where they turned Wolverine into Foxy. Well, now Foxy's here, and he's ready to kill. Of course, he's another duelist. Foxy's main attack is a bite. Look at those teeth. That's a biter. And his right mouse button attack is a big slash with the hook. Now, Foxy's gimmick is bleed. The hook will apply a bleed damage over time effect to anyone that it hits. Speaking of bleed, Foxy's left shift does that in a line. That also applies bleed to anyone that it hits. Foxy's E is a massive bite attack called the Bite of 87. Yes, I know it was Freddy, don't at me. It's base damage on anyone, but it also removes a bleed DOT from anyone that has it and deals double the damage that the bleed would have done instantly. So if you've got 3 ticks of bleed left and bleed does 10 damage, you would have taken 30, so Bite of 87 does 60 to you. Make sense? It's pretty easy math. And it's not based on aesthetics. Foxy's F is an ability that lets the ghost child possessing the animatronic leave its host for a moment, scout ahead, invisible and invincible, and if there is something to find, it can fuck with enemy electronics. This could be Penny's mines, Penny's mine spitter. I'm debating allowing Namor's turrets in here, even though I know that's not electronic. Rocket's beacon. This doesn't damage it, but it does disable it for maybe 10 seconds. Maybe 5, I don't know. Somewhere in that ballpark. The ghost child is invincible and invisible, but it does leave the main body open to being attacked, similar to how you can attack Strange while he's casting his portal. As for his passive, Foxy gains movement speed when he is out of direct line of sight of any enemy players. And this couples well with his ult, Powers Out. Anyone with a direct line of sight to Foxy while he's ulted gains a darkened effect similar to Cloak and Dagger's Wall of Blindness, and has any and all sound cues replaced with Foxy's humming. Obviously, them being deafened means that Foxy has his boosted movement speed from not being in anyone's line of sight as a passive. And this lasts for maybe 10, maybe 15 seconds. This is probably a long-lasting one because it's not super powerful, but I don't know, I could go either way here, 10 or 15. We'd have to play test it to find out. As for team-ups, Foxy's got to team up with another toothy menace, Jeff. I'm so glad you're here. Foxy's team-up is called Jaws of Life. And Foxy gains an extra ability similar to Rocket's Infinite Ammo, Jeff's Cold Burst, or Nimor's Extra Target. He gains something similar to his Bite of 87. The difference is, if Foxy hits an enemy with this new ability, it functions exactly the same as Bite of 87. But because this is a big wide area, if it also hits an ally, whatever damage would be applied to an enemy because of the effects of Bite of 87 is also applied to allies, not Foxy, as healing. So if you can do this into a cluster fight of both teams, you can do a huge amount of burst healing and really turn the tides of things. But it's got to have a pretty significant cooldown. I'm thinking 20, maybe 25 seconds. For skins, we have another plethora of options. Of course, we've got Withered Foxy, Mangle, Funtime Foxy, Phantom Foxy, whatever this thing is. But we can also throw in any of the other animatronics that have a similar build. It would be totally easy to throw in Freddy or Chica, whatever. And of course, you've seen the meme. He's got to have a Wolverine skin. And that is all of the duelists I have. So, let's move on to strategist. What masterful, powerful tactician, mighty healer, wondrous being deserves to join the ranks of the strategists of Marvel Rivals? Well, I'm glad you asked because I'll tell you. It's the one, the only...
I'm Catbug!
Hello, Catbug. Catbug has joined the team. We needed another adorable strategist. And Catbug's primary is a collection of 3, it's a clip of 3 similar to Bucky's 3-round shot, but each piece of ammo is different. His primary is called Drama Bug, and the things that he throws in order are Sir Jeffers, Rebecca, and Chad. And each of these have a different effect. If it hits an ally, in order, it gains a damage boost, a healing boost, or a movement speed boost in that order. And if it hits an enemy, it does the opposite. All on top of doing base healing or base damage, depending on if it's a friend or an enemy. The passive is also...
I'm Catbug!
And it's just passive regeneration once you're outside of combat, because if there's anyone that needs to just feel better on their own, it's Catbug. He deserves to have passive income healing. What a good little guy. For Catbug's E, we of course have the see-through zone.
I don't know how to make myself go there. Maybe it might never happen again.
Catbug teleports to the see-through zone, making him intangible, invisible, and able to pass through any destructible terrain. And he's able to pop out anytime. He can cancel the ability, but it lasts, I'm thinking 3 seconds, maybe 5. Either 3 or 5, and you can't use any other abilities at the same time. Obviously, you can't attack from the see-through zone, but you also couldn't use your movement abilities. Movement abilities, you say? Why, yes. Catbug's left shift is Fuzz Buzz. He gets down on all fours, extends the wings, and flies around. It's pretty simple. He fly. He got wings, he fly. For Catbug's right mouse button...
You're my friends now.
He hurls a soft taco. Just pretty much anywhere he wants to. The soft taco does massive burst healing to anyone it hits. It's got a pretty decent AoE and also damages enemies. And this ability, rather than being on a true cooldown, is on a charge cooldown, similar to Mantis's leaves, Spider-Man's webbing, or Thor's hammer, but without the option to recharge it in any way. Now, what is Catbug's F? Well, I will tell you what Catbug's F is. Catbug's F is...
1 peanut butter square.
Now remember, Catbug can have just 1, and only after they cool down. So this ability will start on a cooldown of probably 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds, and it does not recharge after you use it. You can only have 1. Once per game, Catbug hurls a peanut butter square, and if it contacts an enemy, they die instantly. Flat out, they're just dead. But you can only have 1 Catbug, and not until after they cool down.
Okay!
And finally, for Catbug's ultimate,
Everything is okay!
Catbug dons the Eon Worm costume, and while he remains vincible, any and all allies within a 10-meter radius and direct line of effect cannot be killed no matter what, similar to Baptiste's lamp. Catbug, however, remains vincible, so the answer here is everybody shoot Catbug until he takes that costume off. The costume, however, does qualify as a state rather than still being the character, so similar to Hela's ult or Punisher's turret, if you kill the state, they just go back to regular them. And that can leave as soon as Hela dies when you kill her in her ult. Still pissed about that. As for Catbug's team up, well that, of course, is with Adam Warlock. Why? This team up is called Cocoon Buddies. Catbug gains double the charges of You're My Friend now. However many they had before. I was thinking 3, maybe 4. It becomes either 6 or 8. Soft tacos for everyone. And Adam Warlock, of course, gains...
A bath.
Yeah.
Some yogurt.
Yeah.
And a place to go. Duty!
And that is Catbug's kit. But this is the first one where there hasn't been a super direct parallel or alt skins baked into the character already. So what the fuck do we do for skins? That's very easy. We use other adorable cuties from similar media. For instance, Puppy Cat. This seems to make total sense. Mr. Muffin, same voice actor.
Somebody kill me!
Danny DeVito, because I thought that'd be funny. And, of course, this is my best match, BMO.
Be with top.
And we're gonna take a little break from strategist and hop on over to vanguard. We had a lot of tacos, a lot of peanut butter squares in the last one, so now we gotta eat our veggies. Which of course means it's time to introduce our fourth character.
Ho ho ho.
The Jolly Green Giant. The Jolly Green Giant is a vanguard, of course, and probably has the most health out of anyone in the game as a base. Why? Because his kit isn't super damaging. His primary, of course, is pea shooter. It's just a rapid-fire pea gun. Each pea probably does 5 damage, so maybe this is like an Uzi or something. It's probably just like an actual pea plant that he squeezes, and then a bunch of peas launch out of it. I'm thinking very fast shooting, but very, very low damage, because this kit isn't about damage. It's about knockback. For instance, his left shift on the cob. He's gonna pick up a corn cob, he's gonna hurl that corn cob, similar to this.
You are about to be crushed by a giant corn.
This will, of course, deal decent damage and significant knockback. His right mouse button attack is called Can Launcher, where he just picks up and hurls a can of vegetables at you. I could see an argument for different vegetables having different effects, but I don't think it's really necessary, so maybe there's some like flavor win there where he's got 3 or 4 different things he can throw, but they all do the same thing, which is concussing an enemy, dealing a slight stagger and blur effect to any enemy hit, as well as some damage and significant knockback. It also knocks flyers to the ground. Sticking on theme, his E is called Cannon, where he will launch a much bigger can at an enemy and detain them. The can comes down, the enemy is stuck in the can for X amount of time, they cannot move, they cannot attack, they cannot take any damage, similar to Hulk's Exile, sort of, but with a bigger visual blocker, and also the ability to destroy the can. Other people can attack the can and destroy it to get them out quicker. There's also significant knockback attack. Actually, no, this one doesn't have any knockback. Forget I said that. What does have knockback is his quick melee, Asparagus. He pulls out an asparagus and uses it as a bat. And the reason this character has a specified quick melee where the others didn't is because it sets up for his F, Asparagus. If Jolly Green Giant has landed a quick melee in the last 3 seconds, he can then take the asparagus and chuck it like a spear. This is a line attack dealing massive knockback, and it pierces through multiple enemies. And finally, for his passive, Eat Your Greens. For any ability other than the primary shot that is on active cooldown, gain a small bit of regeneration. This keeps triggering until that ability stops being on cooldown. And finally, his ultimate ability, Hidden Valley. Yeah, I know that's technically a different brand, but just go with it. The Jolly Green Giant transforms the surrounding area into a zone of buff for allies, granting 40% DR. It also specifically damages enemies whenever they exit the area. So coming into it is fine, there's no penalty for being in it, but he's a knockback character. He flings you back out, you take damage for leaving on the way out. His team up, we will get to in the next character, because I had to do a team up in between two of these characters for two of them, so we'll come back to that in a minute. But first, his skins. Now, I don't condone releasing recolors of skins. Looking at you, Overwatch, and treating them like they're something new. But I think this one gets a pass. Because Jolly Green Giant specifically has green in the name, I'm okay with releasing a Rainbow of Giants. And this can either mean like this, or like this. Or both. I'm okay with both. And then of course, we would have to get Mr. Clean in there as well. I feel like that's a really easy reskin of all of these abilities to different cleaning products, like you make on the cob into a bar of soap, or maybe like a paint roller or something, but with like cleaning brush, I don't know, or Swiffer or something, I don't know. I'm saying too many brands. I'm not sponsored by any of these brands, by the way. I feel like that should go without saying, given these numbers, but I'm not sponsored, but I'd consider it. Anyway, and then of course, this, I shouldn't even have to bring this up, but obviously, the other skin for the Jolly Green Giant is the Native American from the Rebel Arcade in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. I don't even need to say anything else. This is just that obvious. So we're gonna move on now. And finally, back to strategist. One last character to add to the roster that absolutely needs to show up in this game. A titan of gaming, someone that you've all heard of, that you're all fans of. One of the best characters ever created in media. It's the Monopoly Man. What does the Monopoly Man do? Well, he makes houses and he makes hotels. For his primary, houses and hotels. He throws houses and hotels. It's a clip, it's got 5 ammo, the first 4 are houses, the 5th is a hotel. You toss it out, it lands in an area, it's got a little AoE effect of dispensing healing or damage over time if you're within the area. The hotels deal double damage and double healing. His E is Chance Card. It's a buff to allies. We're not helping our enemies here, but it's a random buff. It can be anything from a huge burst of healing, significant damage reduction, movement speed bonus, damage boost, cooldown reduction, any of the like. The thing is, you never know what's coming out. You gotta take a chance. Speaking of cooldown reductions, passive is doubles. Because you know, when you roll doubles, you get to go again. Similarly, any cooldown used has a 1 in 6 chance to be instantly refunded. The passive cannot benefit from the passive itself and has a bit of a cooldown of its own, so you can't just get really lucky and cycle abilities infinitely, but it's just, every time you use an ability, maybe you'll get it back, but only if you can roll doubles. His right mouse button is called Make It Rain. He throws a stream of bills that does damage and pushes. Very simple. His left shift is called Go to Jail. Send the policeman. If it hits anyone, they go to jail. It's another detention ability. I wasn't expecting it to be this close to the last one, but, you know, here you go. And finally, his ultimate ability is, of course, Pass Go. Pass Go refreshes the cooldowns of all teammates within range, significant healing, and grants them a large amount of overhealth. Specifically, 200, because when you Pass Go, you collect $200. It makes total sense. And finally, his team up with the Jolly Green Giant is, of course, green, green, green. Monopoly Man's houses and hotels primary ability gains the ability to affect anyone currently hit by Cannon, and Jolly Green gets 20% increased knockback to all abilities. And for alt skins, the last thing I have to talk about, well, we can put him in gold, because he's Mr. Moneybags, but we can also put him into anything else that sort of fits that vibe or that physical stature. I'm considering Mario, because that's a similar sort of build, but since it's a money thing, I'm also considering Wario. Up in the air about that one. Obviously, a very similar like Top Hat and Fancy Man, Mr. Peanut, could make an appearance here. And finally, this one's a bit of a swing for the fences, but it's an excuse to get a little extra killer music into this game. Scrooge McDuck, another Moneybags type character that I think would work really well here. Plus, then we get to hear this. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Do these characters need to be in the game? Don't they? I think they do. I'm trying to go fast because my camera's about to die. Hey, big thanks to patrons like Malayik. You want me to say your name? You could join the tier that lets me say your name. Or you could be like these other ones and just show up here. Also, come check out the Discord. We do pretty cool stuff in there. I hear this guy's about to start releasing videos again, so the watch parties for Gravity Falls will return shortly. Didn't know he was taking this big of a break right when we started this little bet, but it's whatever. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let me know what character you think needs to be added to the game. Is it Creamtown? Somebody make a move list for Creamtown for Marvel Rivals. Good night, everyone.
Whee!